commissariat store is our convict bond store thingy, big, and related to what was a jetty that came out through here. And this was a bond store kerosene store. When you have lights for night time and on the jetties and so on, they're fueled with kerosene. So you have a kerosene store close by the jetty so that you can fill up all your lamps for night work and for lighting your way and so on. And so it's got a specially constructed floor where it's got drainage underneath it so that if there's any spill it gets run out and doesn't accumulate in the floor, things like that. And it's also got massive walls and not too many big holy windows, so that if there's an explosion in there, it's contained to the building pretty well. So that's why it's got very little, those little, what do you call those, fortification windows. That's not about keeping anybody in or out, it's about containing dangerous goods, basically, emergency stuff. But then they're using their understanding of old construction, medieval stuff to make it look interesting as well. So they use big arches. Arches are a stronger form of opening a lintel than a beam, so that if you have explosions, you also have a better, or a fire, you have a better chance of surviving that in an arch form. But it also looks nice, so it's a bit of both. Okay, so that's 1850s, that's 1880s, and they both go with the early and longer extensions of the jetty, which we'll have a look at now. And the railway line used to come right through here onto the long jetty that way. So we should walk on that.
몰랐어. 우리 어부이도 콩이야.
So this railway line went straight where the other one is at the moment. But it came on a curve here and it's going out onto the long jetty. So you know that picture I said, now they're promenading up and down on Sundays on the long jetty because it's not being used for shipping anymore. Well, when it was used for shipping, the goods came off the ships onto the long jetty and then onto this railway line to get back into the port.
So there was a jetty going out here?
Yeah, we're going out. Taking pictures all the time, to get right at the back. Anyway, that's mostly a reconstruction to show what the jetty structure was. But you see those little black stumps out in the water? Mm-hmm. That's the remains of that main jetty. And then it runs out alongside that new groin. So that's the new America's Cup boating yacht harbour built there, and it's been pushed over there when they wanted to come right in here, so that they had to go just beyond that jetty, and that groin there actually helps protect the remains of the jetty to some extent. It means that the ocean pushes the sand up against it and that buries it, which is actually good for preserving it. So this is a reconstruction, so we can see what the jetty was like in terms of scale and construction, but the real objects that still mark its position are in the water over there. eyewitnesses' interpretation of the objects you can't see anymore. That's just a bit more about it. Take pictures of it, yeah. Good quality limestone. Now that's cut and dressed by hand, and it's hauled here by horse and cart from the quarry up closer to the prison. So that's quite a big effort to get that stone. We'll have a closer look in a minute.
Where did I get that from? Which quarry?
The quarry at the prison.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah. We think.
Yeah.
So, and here's the map of it. Now you see, if you look at the inventory map you've got here, the inventory map has got a mistake in it. See how it shows the seawall going straight through the Codogo Art House?
Yeah.
Where it doesn't. It actually does this in angle. Right? So that's something you can correct on the drawing if you'd like. But I didn't know about that at the time, and it's a drafting error mostly. But there is the angle of it there. You can see that's a PWD drawing, 1246, from 1891 survey. And there's the picture showing the end of it there. So this is our commissariat store here. Over there.
Yes.
These are all the sheds that run over here. That's it there. That's the Codogo Art House. That's that one. That one. And here's our seawall. Okay, now we'll have a closer look at it. Sorry. Right. On ships. So an inventory on a ship might have all these particular things, so they'll just carve them in there to give you an idea of what the ship is. So if you look at this stonework, now you see that indentation on the top? That's what is an indentation for something called a Lewis bolt. That's a metal, it's shaped like this, and you can put that hook in there, and this goes into the slot in the stone so that you can lift it on a winch, because they are very big heavy stones, and most of them have that still in the surface. You see it. That's how they lift it in. Yeah, these are holes in the stone for a Lewis bolt, which is a grappling thing, and you put a hook in it and you can winch it up. And if you are feeling athletic and you can get down there, I'm not, because I won't be able to get back up again. But have a look at the detail of the top of the stone, how it's carefully dressed and cut along the edge to make a straight line, and how where they come together, they're quite carefully shaped, although they're eroded a little bit. So hop down there and have a look at the detail of the stonework on the edge. Nobody's going?
石头上面的这个印象很
stone coming back into the soil, and that makes it a stronger thing. On the outside face, we've got an angle. Like that. And that's what they call batter. The battered mold, it's just like, and that makes it stronger, and then it runs off better, and it's a better strong thing. So that's why we call it a sea wall. It's not just a wall, it's actually a stabilising this bank and protecting it from the elements, and it's very carefully made. It's got great skill and ingenuity into its construction. we value it as an indication of the construction craftsmanship that was available at the time, and how it was designed and built. So that's scientific value as well. So it's educational value, because I can stand here and I can tell you the story, but without those objects to point to, it has no strong meaning to you. So that's scientific value, educational and further research if you wanted to, building construction and seawall fortifications. Okay, so we also look at social value. The social value is people can walk along there, it's part of their experience of the beach. It's not dangerous to anybody, it's not going to fall over, so you don't have to do any work on it. But it becomes part of the landscape of the beach, and people have a strong association with things as kids that they can climb on safely and that they can explore. And then for older folk, it's the interest in the connection between people who actually made it and themselves. Yeah. Nothing wrong with that.
Right.
So this kind of stuff, which is not historic, it's called interpretation. It's about telling the story of the place as a shipping and porting and offloading from ships in the actual fabric of the pathways and things. So those parts, which are now rusting away, if you have a little peek at them, they're about this construction, which is all new, but it's an interpretation of a little mortuary shed. If you have people who die at sea and they're brought into the port, they are put here for a little while just in case they've got a infectious disease or something like that. So they're kept out in the open or away from town, not brought straight in, and then are prepared for burial from this point. And the doctor might come in and check them out and see, not if they can revive them, but if there's anything more that needs to be done, like special kinds of burial or something. But so this is a mortuary chapel. It's to do with the port. It's not, people from the city don't get brought here, only ones who come in on the ocean. But I might be wrong, so you better check the plaque to see if they've got it. So I think it's quite nice because it's an interpretation of contributes to people's use of it and comfort in the case. Okay. Harrison still says about this shed where the vessel now. Harwood and Sons. Choice now. We can go back along that path, or we can trudge across the beach. What would you like to do?